And welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame show. Almost guaranteed to be our best watch show of the year because people like seeing the pain. And here to share the pain with me here this week, we have Jared, Sean, and Dan. We have a full house. And since we didn't have enough time to get to you last show at all, Jared, I'll start off with you this time. What was the highlight of the 2024 season or 2023 season for the Bills? Let's start with the positivity.
Well, that's easy. Making the playoffs. After the 12-man game, when we lost to Denver, I was like, no, season's over. There's no way they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card at all. And look what happened. We not only made the playoffs, we got the division, and we got in second place. So, you could argue that yeah, we could have done better against like the Jets or the Patriots before that, or even Denver that night. But it's just an amazing accomplishment to go from 5% chance to make it in the playoffs to basically having a real shot for the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Sean, what will you remember most about the 2023 season?
Can't say much, man. I went to the game in LA, and that was pretty fun. But honestly, they all blend together at this point, just loss after loss in the playoff. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, I think, you know, from coming from last season, which we had so many things happen, it's hard to really say anything besides the game that I went to away. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool memory to go to a city so far away to see a Bills game. You know, not just physically, but LA, culturally is very, very different from Buffalo. So, like being part of a Bills Mafia invasion there is probably a lot of fun. Dan, any positive highlights that you'll remember for the 2023 season?
Yeah, I think kind of like what Jared said in terms of, it seems like we were dead in the water for a while there after that Broncos loss, and then after that Eagles loss as well. I think Joe Brady showed some real promise, and as possibly being the offensive coordinator going forward. I think he showed that this offense can do a lot. Obviously, we knew that before, but it seems like the pieces were not there for a second. So I think the offense definitely came back in a big way. Obviously, not when we needed them the most, but I think that is a positive sign at least.
Well, I don't think a lot of people are walking away blaming the offense too much, so much as a specific special teams failure. Um, do you, I guess, what is your knee jerk reaction to the game? Do you blame the offense, not scoring enough points to make it dependent on a field goal to tie in the fourth quarter? Or is another wide right the reason we're not in the playoffs any further?
I think, before the game, if you were to say, oh, 24, we're going to get 24 points this game, I think a lot of people would have said, well, you're not beating the Chiefs with 24 points. So although I do think the offense showed promise yesterday, I think the bottom line is they needed a touchdown at the end of the game and they didn't get it. I think the game was over before Bass even kicked that field goal. I figure, even if they do get that field goal, Mahomes has plenty of time. So I think, whose fault that is, Josh missed a few throws, but you can't really be too mad at him, the way that he played really well. Overall, I just think they didn't get it done in the end.
Sean, where do you assign blame for the loss?
Defensive injuries. So many years they've gone in here being pretty healthy, and then just, you know, almost half their defense was out. And then how you can't stop the Chiefs at all. They were averaging a crazy amount of yards per play. Just so uncharacteristic of this Bills defense the entire year. I don't think you can blame the offense at all, except for our lack of offense or our wide receiver talent. That is a number one priority in the for the draft. And Josh Allen played like a superhero hitting targets, but they were dropping them. I blame the defensive injuries. How can you blame the defense? That just happens. It's not something you can control. And so it's just really unfortunate because, if they had that full strength defense, I think you can stop them. And, dependent on our wide receivers being better, I still think, you can go to the AFC Championship game.
Jared, anything to share on the shortcomings of the game?
Well, so the question was like, who to blame? Is that still where you're going with
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anybody I blame specifically. I think it was a team loss. The offense could have done better than 24. There was a pretty interesting comment this morning on WGR where they were talking about how they thought McDermott was out of touch by saying the offense did well. And my thought was, well, the offense did do well until the fourth quarter. It depends on how you look. You could also argue the defense played horrible until the fourth quarter. So that's where like both sides of the ball had their positives and negatives during the game. Obviously, Tyler Bass, he made a field goal, he missed a field goal. So it was really overall a team loss. I don't know if losing focus was also an element going on. There was a lot of factors there. The Chiefs had 2 more days to prepare than the Bills did. The Bills were battling weather all week. You could argue maybe they never even got a good practice in before the game. So I think all of that just combines. And again, like it was so close. This was you take away a few plays, you're at a few plays, it's a whole different ball game here. So it's hard to really say like one particular thing happened. I say it's an overall just team loss, and might I add, we barely lost. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but that's what it was.
You mentioned McDermott. Do you think McDermott survives the offseason? And if we do stay with McDermott, what do you think the biggest change will be in this upcoming offseason?
Back to me?
Yep.
Yeah, I think McDermott stays. I can't imagine them having I mean, yeah, it seems like every time we lose a game they want to fire McDermott, but after that comeback in the second half of the season, I don't imagine anything. Joe Brady, I mean, he interviewed for a job with the Falcons, so who knows? We might actually lose him for a head coach, or we might hire a whole new offensive coordinator. While the O line was amazing this year and the running game was good, I mean, James Cook made the Pro Bowl. I could see the Bills like trying to get that, normal looking offense going this year. I think that was part of the problem though. Like Ken Dorsey tried that, didn't really work out very well. They went back just using Josh the way he needs to be used. So now Leslie Frazier was supposed to be a 1 year off, right? So is he coming back? I'm gonna go out and say no on that one. I don't think he's back. So we could see another defensive coach possibly. Yeah, I'm really not sure. We'll kind of just see what happens.
Sean, Leslie Frazier comes back as the head coach next year. Do you think McDermott survives the season, Sean? And if he is here, like what changes? Like I guess it's hard to predict what will be added, but like what's going to go? And if not Sean, then McDermott, who leaves? Sean, you.
There's no way that they get rid of him. They already extended his contract. And the fact is that the Bills and Sabres, especially the Sabres, have, just floundered, finding a head coach for so long. When one brings you to 5, consecutive playoff runs, I don't think you can get rid of them, It's just really would be, putting it, you know, if you want to go and look for another one, you could go down the same route again and run into something where you don't have a good one. So I do think it in the end, like also Beane and McDermott are pretty, together. And I think Sean McDermott's defense played really well down the stretch despite all the injuries. So there's no way you get rid of him. I don't think Joe Brady is going to get signed. I think Belichick's going to take that job. It really made me angry that they decided to interview him when they did, and it didn't even seem very serious about hiring him after Belichick had already had 2 interviews and it was a couple days later. So like it's like, what are we doing with that? That was really frustrating. So I mean, yeah, I think McDermott's here for sure.
Oh man, all right, Dan. No one's taking the bait. I'm going to give you the last chance. Belichick's not committed anywhere yet. Is it our chance to dump McDermott and sign Belichick, bring him to Buffalo, get a Super Bowl here for us?
I mean, I don't know I don't know if he can do any better than what McDermott has done. And I think that's kind of the dilemma I'm thinking because, I get it. I think a lot of people have compared it to, how Andy Reid was with the Eagles, where they were great every year, but then every year at the end of the season, they would lose. They never actually got to win the Super Bowl with Andy Reid. And they moved on from him. I think a lot of people are comparing that situation. Obviously, the Bills have not made the Super Bowl with McDermott, but I think people are comparing it to that kind of, and I get that. I think a lot of things, when you lose close games like this constantly, yeah, you have to look at the coaching and see what's the problem is. I think that fake punt was probably something that not many people will talk about because the Bills got bailed out from that, luckily. I just think that was a really weird call. But back to the question at hand. No, I don't think they will fire McDermott. I think they'll give him one more shot, which I think is only fair because I think it's really hard to do much better than McDermott right now. I think that's the problem.
Man, you can't. That's hard to say when Ryan Fitzpatrick's sitting out there with no job on any team, right? I don't know if you know this, but the man went to Harvard. He's got to be smart, right? All right, Jared, what are you most looking forward to for the 2024 season of the Bills? We'll wrap it up here for the people.
I mean, I just love seeing the Bills play, so I guess that's number one. Yeah, I mean, I'm always just looking forward to seeing what they're going to do next. I mean, it would be really nice if we can get past the divisional round in 2024 season. Make it to the AFC Championship game. There were rumors. I forget if we addressed them in the last show or not, but there's been rumors about Travis Kelce retiring or Andy Reid retiring, and I'm like, you know what? I hope they retire. I really hope they're done. Andy Reid's won the few, so is Travis Kelce. They can leave and let Patrick Mahomes whine his way through the rest of his career and experience and failures as he should. Yeah, it would be nice if the Chiefs. There you go. I mean, I know this is not really a Bills question, but it would be nice if the Chiefs didn't make the AFC Championship next year. They made 6 in a row. I look back and the Patriots made 8 in a row. Like, this is just a ridiculous period of time in the NFL and the AFC where you have two teams that have just dominated so much in the last 15 years for AFC championships. And I'm done with it. It's just like, get the Bills in the AFC Championship and I don't know, some other team, and let those two battle it out next year. That's what I look forward to.
All right, Sean. Sounds like Jared's looking forward to watching other teams next year. You said you're looking forward to some wide receiver talent. Anything else you're looking forward to in the 2024 season?
I'd say that's about it. I mean, it looks like Bengals just lost their offensive coordinator to head coaching position, so that's good. That'll help the Bills a little bit because that obviously was one of the teams that we were vying against. And yeah, like Jared said, I do think Travis Kelce will retire, so that at least takes one weapon away. Yeah, we need wide receivers very badly. I think that is the biggest glaring need on this team. So I'm definitely looking forward to the draft and seeing who they pick, and because their cap situation is really bad situation. I think that's going to really hurt them. They might even take a step back next year. So can't really say have high hopes, but if Josh is your quarterback, I think you can always have some type of hope.
Dan, anything you're looking forward to for the 2024 season?
Yeah, no, I agree with Sean. When you have Josh Allen, I think the Bills will always have a shot at the Super Bowl. That being said, they definitely need to address the wide receiver position. Seems like Gabe Davis probably is going to be gone. Diggs, I think he's still a great wide receiver. I think he maybe has lost his step just a little bit. So, yeah, they need to address that. In terms of the Chiefs, I mean, I feel like the Bills can beat any team. That's so frustrating. That's, after last year, it was like, well, what do we do now? And then, we want that home game against the Chiefs. We got it, and then we still lost. So it is quite frustrating. I think last week we talked about how we were talking about if maybe the Chiefs had lost their step a little bit. I think they have lost their step, but yet they're still in the AFC Championship. So, Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I don't have the. I don't have the answers. I'm not getting paid for the answers. That's Sean McDermott's job. That being said,
Now,
I yeah, no, I think we need to draft a receiver in the first round. Absolutely, get a guy that can really step up for Josh, and you know, and no more Trent Sherfield, Deonte Harty. They seem like they're not doing it for us to make the Super Bowl. So that's what I would like.
all right. Well, I'm most looking forward to be back in here and talk with all you guys about the 2024 season. And to all you viewers, thank you so much for hanging out with us all season long. Be sure to like and subscribe one last time for this season to make sure you're back here with us next year as we talk about the Bills Super Bowls March in 2024. Let's go, guys. Thank you so much for another great season, and we'll talk to you soon.